Hey everyone! So I'm just here to show you a couple of journals that I've just listed on Etsy. I'm going to start with the pink and teal one. So what I did was I left these undecorated on the inside and just embellished the covers. And then these little newsprint bag envelopes have some extra journaling cards and tags in them so that you can add them in your journal if you want. So this is a recent fabric remnant that I purchased. It's got some beautiful couple of teal colors in there and some pinks, and it's absolutely stunning. And what I did on the front is I used the less pattern area of the fabric because I knew I was going to cover it with some embellishments. But then on the back I chose an area where you can enjoy some hydrangea blooms there and this large rose. It's just stunning, a stunning fabric, and it's a thicker cotton canvas. I really love it. And then on the front here I made a copy of an old poem about roses, and it's from the 1800s, late 1800s, The Language of Flowers. It's one of the poems from that old book. And this is a frame from Tim Holtz. And then I added some doily, little crochet doilies behind it, and a little, those transparent little butterflies from Tim Holtz. And he's got a button on his body there, and the little tails, the little thread tails there. This is also a photo, one of Tim Holtz's photos. I attached an old pink beaded necklace just so that you could use as a, if you wanted to use as a closure, or you could disassemble it and use the beads and create some extra charms. And then on the spine there's these organza rosettes. So I used Ephemeral Garden in this one, and then a combination of pattern papers and then some coffee dyed pages and book pages, the usual type of papers that I like to use. But as I was printing these, I hadn't set up the little paper tray slot thing properly, so they printed crooked. So when I ended up putting them on the other side to print the other side, I was left with a line on just one edge of these. So I ended up just putting washi tape along the bottom to hide where there's a little line there. So that's just like a quick fix for that type of boo-boo. Just gonna flip through. There's just very basic type of pages in here. This is a map from a really old atlas. I think it's 1940s. So the color of the blue in this is not the modern sky blue, so it's more of a teal. They're just gorgeous. This is a wallpaper sample. This is from the Ephemeral Garden. Again, this is the boo-boo that I covered up with washi tape. This is the threads for one of the butterflies that I stitched on the page. So these tails here are his antenna. Here's the bookmark. Beautiful page from a butterfly book, and there's actually some aqua, like a light aqua or teal in these images. Goes really well with this map. My favorite page in this journal. Large envelope, so you can tuck things in there. These lined pages are from a notebook, an A5 notebook that I just took apart, and it was the stitch binding, so they're in perfect condition for journals. Little glassine bag from Cavallini and Company, and I always forget to use these. I still have a couple. So there's a lot of blank space for writing. You can even journal some thoughts in these little frames. And then on the pattern pages, you could use some of the blank tags that I've included. There's another little butterfly. Washi tape on the edges there, just to make the pages look a little grungier. This is from a botanical book, but there's lots of space here that you could write on. This is from a dollar store little notebook, some more wallpaper. There's a window on this one. And another little butterfly. This time I put it in her flower barrette. And then just some pattern paper on the inside covers. For the envelope, I used a larger newsprint bag. Then I folded it over and then over again to create sort of an envelope shape. Then I stitched the edges here so that I've got the inside of the bag as one opening, and then the front flap is another opening. On the cover here, I just have a square coffee dyed paper doily, and then a piece of an old doily tablecloth small topper. I've got a mulberry paper leaf there. This is a little charm from some old jewelry that I took apart, and then just a little piece of coffee dyed, coffee stained seam binding. There's another little rosette here, a doily, attached to this little cluster here. So here's this really vintage scrap of crocheted lace. So these you could cut these and use them on embellishments, or you could embellish a pocket with the whole piece if you wanted to. It's really, really pretty. So in the back pocket, I included 3 of these smaller merchandise tags, and they are slightly coffee stained. And then 3 of these plain hang tags. 3 of these guest checks, and they were also coffee dyed. And then 3 of these larger inventory tags. Then in the front here, I've got 3 little doilies, paper doilies that I coffee dyed. This is just a small piece of this cotton eyelet, and I wasn't sure. I had cut some of these thinking that I was going to use it on the envelope somehow, but I ended up finding that old piece of lace instead. So I included that inside. And then in this little glassine pocket, we've got some printed ephemera from the Ephemeral Garden collection. So there are 4 of these larger journaling cards. There's a couple of these smaller cards in there, and then 3 of these little fishtail little banner things. And then on the gold paper clip, I've got 2 little round tags that I coffee stained. The second one I have is this red gorgeous fabric. I have used some of this before. You've seen it when I've used it for some Miss Nellie journals. Again, I used some Tim Holtz elements here, such as the frame and the lady there, and a little butterfly. And this time he's got extra tails on him, so. And the button. The cheesecloth here was stained in turmeric powder. Then I hung a little pearl bracelet there. Again, some organza rosettes. And the back is plain, but you can see there's some roses, these beautiful leaves, and some small daisies. So in this one, I decided to feature some pages from the Petticoat Blossoms. It is one of my favorites in my collections. I love the colors and the beautiful rose blossoms and such. So again, just a simple pocket on the front, a playing card there. On this front one, we've got one of the Tim Holtz butterflies that I stitched on the page and left the threads longer so that he's got antenna. Another built-in ribbon bookmark there. Combinations are red and green and some pink. This is wallpaper. Again with the washi tape on the side. This was from an old book, and it talks about the history of printers and newspapers and magazines and the printing presses and such, and I thought it was an appropriate page for this book because what I use as the background in Petticoat Blossoms is the newsprint Harper's Bazaar magazines, these beautiful fashion ladies. So, some more wallpaper there. Old Victorian architecture. April 16th, 1934 was the date on this little page, and as I was assembling the papers for making this book, it was around these dates, so I thought it was a great coincidence that I still had the blank page from that day in 1934, so I included it in here. These are the back printables that are in Petticoat Blossoms, and it's ledger and then some distressed or some old tape there, some lace, and then some newsprint on the bottom. So it gives you lots of space for writing. Again, this one here is April 25th, and that was just a week or so ago. Look at this beautiful book page. Love it. This is a very distressed, stained envelope. Another wallpaper page. Another old page from an atlas. I thought the blue was just so perfect with this pattern paper. Another butterfly. Now on this envelope I used a clothespin as the closure, and another little charm from, I can't remember if this was from a bracelet that I took apart. This is a piece of sari silk ribbon, another little doily, crochet doily there, and then this piece of lace is from a very old sleeve, and so because Petticoat Blossoms, the theme behind it is the old Victorian fashions, I thought I would include this little piece. I have had this for years and I just haven't been sure of what I wanted to do with it, so I've included this nice long piece of it here. And then this doily is just coffee stained. Again, I've included the same types of tags in the back of the envelope. These and these guest checks and these inventory tags, and these are all just slightly colored with coffee. And then again, I've got some coffee dyed doilies, a little piece of this cotton eyelet, and then the tags in here are from the Petticoat Blossoms, and I think there are 6, so they're all from the same sheet. A couple of these little cards that you open, you can journal inside, or you could create page tabs with these. And then the same, we've got the little round coffee stained tags there inside this little glassine bag. So these are both listed in my Etsy store now. I am also currently trying to finish a couple of more masculine journals. One is going to feature some pages from Peculiar Ancestry, which I haven't worked with in a while. It's one of my older favorites. And the other one is going to have some gentlemen and scholars, which I always come back to. It's probably in my top 3 favorite old printable collections. So as soon as I've got those finished, I will do another video and I will list them in my Etsy store. So just keep watching this channel or keep watching my Instagram and Facebook for more information. So I really thank you for all the support, and I thank you for watching today, and I hope to see you back here soon. Bye!